So before we start the video, I want to let you know that I had a goal to hit 50 subscribers by the end of this year. I know it's not a lot, but it's something that I genuinely want to achieve. And yeah, drop a like if you like the video and subscribe. Let's get to it. Whenever I think about an anime that I should rewatch, I always think about something that'll make me excited, happy, and obviously not regret watching it for a second, third, or fourth time. It just so happens that I'm watching Michiko and Hatchin for the second time. I used to watch a lot of battle shonen, obviously Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, my favorite. But I have to say that Michiko and Hatchin really left an impact on me that I didn't expect. For me, it was the overarching idea of chaos and order that attracted me. It might be a very simple concept for many people, but for me, it is something that is so profound and I need to understand it even more. So after watching it for the first time, I really had an unsettling feeling as to why does Michiko chase Morenos? Why does Hatchin have so much weakness when she grew up in such a rough environment? And why is Moreno such a deadbeat? Each of these characters really left an impact on my perception of how I should see anime in general and to some extent life. The characters themselves have a very interesting dynamic that I think can put into perspective the struggles and dangers of different worlds. Michiko, for example, is quite capable of handling herself with the dangers of life and gangsters and mob bosses. So why does she fall for Morenos, who quite literally isn't capable of doing anything for her? Why did Hatchin accept to even be carried away by Michiko? Carried away? Kidnapped. And Morenos, again, deadbeat. After completing the show for the first time, I still was asking myself, why do I love this show so much? The last time I really had this feeling was when I watched Hunter x Hunter, and I was, just go watch the video. Yeah, it's right there. You know what to do. The first thing that I think is well represented within this show is the overlapping ideas of chaos and order, like I said in the beginning. Order and chaos, obviously like fire and water, are represented very well in the series. What's happening more specifically in the setting that is Brazil is the result of colonization. Famine, poverty, and all kinds of unfortunate events are happening in South America. And the only way to get out of that setting is to create power within your own organization that causes chaos in your surroundings. My first thoughts are towards Monstro and the police force, who obviously play the roles of cops and robbers, and this idea of power even infects the character at their very core. The first character that comes to mind when I think about the personification, if I could say, of chaos is Michiko. Within the first 5 episodes, you can really see how much destruction she can cause in her surroundings and how much carelessness she has whenever she needs to get something done. She's quite literally a result of the environment that she grew up in, a place where the strong live and the weak die. And honestly, this is kind of why she's one of my favorite characters in all of anime, because even with all those flaws and insecurities and things that she had to go through in order to get Hatchin, she still cares for her in like a super genuine way. It's incredible. Without Michiko Melandro, the story of Michiko and Hatchin would actually go nowhere. Like I said earlier, she's literally the definition of destruction and mayhem. So yeah, I have my reasons. And her plans actually coincide exactly with who I think is one of the most fun and entertaining characters to watch in all of anime. And obviously that would be the role of little Hatchin. You can tell from the beginning of the series that Hatchin is a very weak character, if I could say. Not in the sense where she can't accomplish anything of her own strength. Actually, the quite opposite. She's a very capable person. But because of the monsters that are pretty much surrounding her 24/7, at least in the first few episodes, she's not very capable of doing anything for her own and even accomplish any of her dreams. She's obviously being mistreated by her adoptive parents and their children. But it's not like if she gets out of that environment, anything will go better for her. I actually had to think about it for a while, because given the environment that Hatchin grew up in, you can pretty much tell that if she gets out of that environment and the setting in which she has to stay with that priest, she's going to have to encounter the likes of gangsters, mob ties, slave masters, and even child abusers. Some things just can't be avoided. And in that situation, I think she's pretty much stuck between a hard wall and Wait, what's the expression again? Anyway, Hatchin is super entertaining to watch, and I personally love the interactions that authors put inside of their mangas between like the main characters and their psychic. In my opinion, it's really refreshing to see something that's more appreciated, at least on the western side of the world, than it is on the eastern side of the world. It makes things anew and pretty much gives a chance to give new ideas to the things that something like Batman and Robin didn't have. I think looking back at Michiko and Hatchin's relationship, you can really tell that they had something in common but didn't come to terms as to how they were going to achieve their goals. Don't get it twisted, Michiko still kidnapped Hatchin. Obviously, I wouldn't want to see a show where Hatchin is just being punished 24/7 by her adoptive parents. So even after watching the show a second time, I really can't put my finger on it. I don't know why I like Michiko and Hatchin so much, really. Is it the art, the character development, the character interactions, the different varieties of environment? I give all of them A+, but it's really hard to put into words what Michiko and Hatchin feels like whenever I'm watching it. It's one of those where I could really say honestly that it's one of those where I wish I could rewatch it for the first time. If I remember correctly, Michiko Melanjo literally means a beautiful and delinquent person. And to its contrast of the chaos that Michiko is, there's her childhood best friend, Atsuko. Her childhood with Michiko was explained, man, I'm not gonna butcher this, I don't know when it was. From what I remember, Atsuko is pretty much the collateral damage for Michiko's schemes. And these are the kind of details that I really like authors put into their story. The name Atsuko in Atsuko Jackson quite literally means worm and industrious child. And Jackson being a result of the colonization of the conquistadors during the Spanish Inquisition. Now put these two very contradictory characters together and yeah. And for real, like I would spend the whole night, cause what time is it? It's 1:30 a.m. I could spend the whole night talking about characters from Michiko and Hatchin. But go freaking watch it, man. But without the setting of Michiko and Hatchin, I don't think I'd be able to appreciate one of the characters in the, I forget which arc. The chocolate girl in love? Was it? I don't remember. Well, yeah, if you've watched the anime, you must remember this one right here. Rita Ozeri is pretty much a girl that's just like Michiko, and not surprisingly, someone like that can only attract someone who is like Hatchin. Almost like Hatchin can't get rid of the energy that Michiko gives off, so she pretty much found it, I mean unknowingly obviously, in Rita Ozeri. And we can see that it's even easier for her to communicate with Hatchin because her too, she's a kid. Not only that, but the characters that we rarely see are also very, very intriguing. Like, what's his name? Bruno? Yeah, that's him, Bruno. You can really see his theme like resonating with the overall vibe of what's going on inside of the show, and it's, yo, the author really just stomped on it. Oh my goodness. In one of the episodes, one of the quotes really resonated with what was going on. You already suffered so much for someone who may not see. Let me heal you. That alone just resonated so much with Michiko. You could tell that she understood what these words meant, but was in complete denial of what was going on. Could you go through life wondering, what if? This guy is a menace, bro. Everything that we've learned from the series was pretty much crumbling down in front of our eyes. It was really difficult to watch this because I too wanted to see what if. Again, we share the same feelings as Michiko. We know that Morinos is somewhere out there, but we don't know if he's even alive. And for those of you who can relate not having any parents or even missing one parent, you can also relate to what Hatchin is going through while watching her only guardian, Michiko, pretty much forget of the main reason why they're together. It seems like such a simple idea, but it makes this show 100 times better. Understanding that the very foundation of why we're watching the show is quite literally crumbling under our eyes is like, it's like the rumbling. In the meanwhile, Hatchin was pretty much learning how to be tougher in life because she understood the kind of environment in which Michiko was in. If she was to stay around a woman who could literally punk off drug dealers, gangsters, and like, bro, she had to learn how to defend herself. She had to learn how to box, bro. Yeah, she was pretty much learning like emotional hostility. People who are willing to use your emotions against you just to trap you, and yeah, we know how that goes. And for that, you need some sort of emotional stability. And I don't need the kind of emotional stability that you find in friends or in family, but I mean the kind of emotional stability that allows you to stay very, very calm in stressful situations. But we also know that the closer Hatchin was staying to Michiko, the more she was getting to know her and learn from her, kind of like through perils and tribulations. I know I said earlier I wasn't going to talk about the characters too much, but hey, too bad, bro. Like, Satoshi Batista is a freaking badass. Kind of twisted still, but still amazingly written, bro. So these are kind of the characters that I wanted to talk about in Michiko and Hatchin. And now I have to move on to the art style. I know it's the boring part, but hey. Like and subscribe. The animation and the art style actually go hard. I was not expecting something like that from an anime that came out in 2008 or 2009. In every scene that we saw in this anime, I could feel the warmth and the cold and the dryness and all kinds of... Yo, this show was playing with my 5 senses, I ain't even gonna lie. The restaurants feel real and authentic. It was very surprising. Watching this show, like, you can almost smell the food of what they're cooking in the kitchen. From the deserts to the plains to the jungles to even apartment buildings, you can feel the vibe of what's going on. It's not the best of quality, it's not like JJK or like God of High School, but it's more than enough to do. Yeah, it's way more than enough. I also know that some people only watch anime just for that, and look, there's nothing wrong with it, but hey, I want something that's crisp. If anything, it really makes me think of the Boondocks. Looking back on Michiko and Hatchin, I really recommend it to anyone. Like, it's action-packed, it's gangster. Yeah, nice pun. And honestly, I hope that you learned something from this video and from watching Michiko and Hatchin. So yeah, that's my video. That's actually my first video that I just open the mic and I just talk. I don't usually do this. I usually have a script, so tell me in the comments if I missed anything from Michiko and Hatchin. Stay blessed, drink a lot of water. GT out.